Welcome to Not a Roofers podcast, where we discuss roofing
without all the jargon. I'm Brianna.
And I'm Charity.
And this is today's episode.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Not a Roofers podcast. Today we are discussing alligatoring, and I will turn it over to Brianna for her favorite thing of definitions.
Yeah, so there's not an actual dictionary definition for this because it is an adjective that the roofing industry and other industries like this term is used in paint and stuff like that. So it's not an official definition, but alligatoring would be an adjective because it's a word that describes something else. And it is the cracking of the surfacing bitumen on a built-up roof, producing a pattern of cracks that resemble an alligator's hide. That is alligatoring.
It's such a hard word to say, quickly in a sentence.
Quickly.
You gotta slow down and just be like, alligatoring. Your roof is alligatoring.
Happens. Anyway, okay, so why are we talking about alligatoring?
I mean, we're talking about it because it's a roofing term, but it also happens on commercial flat roofs, which is something that we work on quite often.
And because it's a problem.
Well, it is a problem. Like a lot of things, it's a problem. So alligatoring happens. Wow, this is going to be a hard episode to record.
Let's say alligatoring like 5 times fast. Ready? Alligatoring.
Alliterating. Oh boy. Okay.
Let's practice. Okay. Alligatoring.
That's not even that fast, but we got this.
No. Okay.
All right. So alligatoring is a sign that your roof is getting older. It happens when the sun dries out and damages the roof surface, and typically happens 3 to 5 years after your flat roof is installed.
And I'm sure that depends on where you're living. Some places get hotter. What did you say it was in Oklahoma this week?
So it's not necessarily that the temperature says it's hot, because it's only 80 to 90 degrees this week, but our heat index is up to 115 this week.
Yeah, so that's like way hotter than we get up here in Wisconsin. So the timeline on this isn't exact. It's not like, I put on a new roof now, and in 5 years it's going to be alligatoring here in Wisconsin. But littler signs may show up depending on how the membrane dries out. Oh, except this says extreme temperature changes from sunlight, snow, and even internal heating and cooling will cause new cracks to appear and make them worse.
Well, and with that, it's when cracks are already formed, that change will make the cracks bigger as well.
Thinking back to this, I have definitely seen alligatoring on some of the roofs that I've been on to record videos for Roof Medics.
Oh, I'm sure, because it's not necessarily something you can stop, but it's something that
it just happens.
Yes, so it happens, but then if you're doing maintenance on your roof, it is easily fixed, typically by applying a new coating to the roof.
Like
restorations.
Okay, so, we said you can't really prevent alligatoring, but there are some things that you can do to make sure that alligatoring doesn't cause any problems on your roof. And maybe we should get into, what problems alligatoring can cause.
Well, alligatoring and blistering kind of go hand in hand, which cause leaks.
Leaking, man. Darn roofs. I feel like
this is our biggest issue. Most of the roof terms we discuss cause leaking.
Well, what else is a roof going to do? How else is it going to cause a problem besides leaking?
I mean, that is your biggest problem, is leaking.
So it makes sense that most of the problems would cause the biggest problem.
True.
Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, alligatoring can lead to leaking. It can also, if left unchecked, alligatoring can prematurely make you have to restore or replace your roof entirely. Now, restoration, as we've said in the past, is a newer thing that is available for flat roofs, and it's definitely less expensive than having to replace your roof entirely. But even so, if you have a roof that's only 10 years old and you're now having to restore it already, like that's way too soon. But if alligatoring is left unchecked, or any problem is really left unchecked, that's what you're going to end up with. Don't ignore your roof. Just don't do it.
Maintenance.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So we got the problems, but how can you prevent alligatoring? That's what we're going to start with until we veered off. So we just said it. Well, Charity just said it. Maintenance. Do it. Have it. Love it.
Embrace it.
Love it.
We think we're funny.
We do. We really do. But maintenance allows for cracks when they start to happen get repaired.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they aren't repaired right away, then when the cold weather up here in Wisconsin or more heat in Oklahoma or wherever you are hits your roof, because it's going to happen, because weather happens.
Well,
no matter where you are, weather happens.
Not only the weather, but like we said, if you're already starting to if you are already having alligatoring issues on your roof, especially down here, well, we have extreme cold in these buildings compared to the heat outside. And so that will also affect it. So it's not just weather, it's also what's happening inside the building.
Yeah. So having maintenance, whether that's once a year, twice a year, that is something that you need to figure out with your preferred contractor on what you think and they think is best for your roof. But what can also happen is there are UV protectant or reflective coatings that can get put on these flat roofs that kind of work. It's like roof sunscreen, really.
Can we market it as that? Get your roof sunscreen.
I mean, that's what it is though. Like, what does sunscreen do? It protects your skin from getting sunburned. I would know, because sunscreen's my best friend. Same thing happens. Like, you get this UV protectant or a reflective coating on your roof, and it protects your roof from the UV rays that is causing alligatoring. So it's just like sunscreen, except your roof doesn't burn. I mean, it does burn. It gets hot. It gets really hot, but it alligators instead of burns, if that makes sense. Anyway, so that's what you can do for prevention. And part of the prevention is getting small repairs, which can be having the cracks filled or have part of your roof sealed differently, things like that. Long story short, alligatoring's not good. You don't want your roof to look like an alligator. That's what it comes down to.
I mean, you don't want your roof to look like a lot of things. You want it to look nice and smooth, especially if it's a flat roof. Nice and smooth and perfect.
Well, I don't know if I'd say smooth. Like, there's asphalt roofs that have granules on them, so they're not smooth.
What I meant by smooth is flat.
They're textured.
And not, like, having crevices.
Not letting water into your building.
Yes.
Newsflash, you don't want water coming into your building from your roof system. What a outlandish idea.
I don't want water to be anywhere except where water's supposed to be.
So alligatoring. I feel like Normally we'd come up with our own version of this term, but it actually has
Well, I think because it didn't have an actual definition, we already created that definition.
Well, I didn't create it. I found it off of a list of commercial roofing terminology, which I'll link below if you want to see other roofing terminology that we may or may not use in the future.
Or if you want to look at the list and then send us a message of what we should talk about off of that list.
Yeah.
What would
Email
you
us,
find
messages.
interesting?
It's a good point. But I think that brings us to the end of today's episode. Make sure to find us on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. You can email us at marketing@roofmedics.com. Like us, subscribe us on your podcast listening platform of your choice. I just put in the request to be on Apple Music, so
nice.
We may be in a new location soon, which is awesome.
I thought we were already on Apple.
No, apparently not.
I thought we were on Apple Podcasts.
I don't know. Oh no, Amazon.
Oh, Amazon. Okay. It's like
Amazon Music.
Got
sorry.
it.
I don't know if I said Apple. Yeah. So yeah, I just requested to be on Amazon Music, so that'd be new for us and awesome. But yeah, leave a review. It helps us to reach more people. Share us on your social media platforms too. Like, hey, find out about alligatoring, or just listen to these two people try and pronounce alligatoring 50 gazillion times in a row. No? Do it. Anyway, we hope you learned something today, and we will be back next week.
Bye!
That brings us to the end of today's episode. If you've been loving what you're hearing, make sure to press the subscribe button so you get notified anytime we post a new episode. Episodes come out on Wednesdays. Please share this podcast with a friend, rate us, or leave a review. All of those help us to reach more listeners so that everybody can join us and learn more about the roofing industry as we go along on this journey. If you don't already follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or YouTube, I will put all of our information in the show notes below. Feel free to contact us with any questions or ideas you have and would love for us to talk about on the podcast. I hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time.